So if you've been watching my videos on this channel as of late, I've been talking about what I want to do and how I want to cover anime and Dragon Ball and everything going forward. So I had an idea for a series, and this is the very first one of these, where I'm just going to make, in general, a hot take about a certain anime or a certain opinion that I have, and then I'm going to hopefully allow it to spark some discussion, whether or not it's vile. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to come at me in the comment section for this, but I do think if you listen to what I have to say, you might start agreeing with me, at least in some respect. And that is, my very first hot take on this channel is Naruto is a terrible series. In fact, if you love it, if you appreciate it, especially when it comes to the anime, I believe you have nostalgia bias and you're not willing to look beyond the fact that it isn't a quality television show. So let's just jump right into that, shall we? I think, and in order to really put this into perspective, I have to give you kind of a backstory of my interaction with Naruto as a series and anime as a whole. I've talked about this a little bit on this channel, but when it comes to Dragon Ball, anime in general, everything early Toonami days, you're talking about Gundam Wing, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, everything that they played back in the 90s, right? The late 90s up until the early 2000s, I was all on board with that. I wanted it so badly, but at the same time, I was getting older and my friend groups were changing, even though I still had friends that loved anime and told me time and time again, you need to check out this series called Naruto. And at the same time, Bleach is also awesome. You have to watch One Piece, all of this stuff. To this day, those friends tell me that. They still tell me to watch Naruto. And believe me, I have tried, but we're going to get to that just in a moment. By the time Dragon Ball Z was wrapping up, I was really revisiting Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT and the subforms just because I was really trying to get as much of that as possible. I was so invested with Dragon Ball Z that I wanted to get the entirety of the story. When I finally became aware that it existed, I wanted to see how it ended. I wanted to know where the characters ended up and how all the story connected. And I didn't want to have to wait for the dubs. So I looked all this stuff up on subs and just in general online just to get a feel for it. And then I was going to put it to bed forever. Lo and behold, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods comes out in theaters. Everyone gets hyped up for it, and eventually we get the dub in theaters, and I go and see that. It was just kind of an awakening experience for me. Then a couple of years later, we get Fakatsu no F, and then Dragon Ball Super, and everything from there is absolutely history. I've said on this channel multiple times, I do love Dragon Ball Super for what it was, and I'm glad that it reawoke some kind of nostalgic boost and some kind of love and passion for anime and manga in general, because let's face it, some of the best stories out there are anime, are manga, are stuff that comes directly from Japan. And I wanted to explore that so much, especially for this channel, and I sought out, I listened to my friends, I listened to you guys on here, I sought out those big three, because those are the classic ones. Those are the ones that people from across almost every demographic talks about. You need to watch Naruto. You need to watch One Piece. You need to watch Bleach. And while I did watch Bleach throughout, I liked Bleach. I really liked Bleach. It was kind of more mature. It was definitely on my level. I watched the anime. I liked the anime. Even the filler parts, I liked the anime, even though it's not the best thing out there. But the manga was really good too. If it didn't end abruptly, it would have been pretty awesome. I can't wait for it to come back, and I really do hope it comes back. At the same time, even though I haven't really picked up Naruto or One Piece to the degree that I picked up Bleach, I have to say that One Piece, at least in terms of the beginning, when you're talking about the big three, has the best beginning. And I know a lot of people would throw a lot of fire at me for even saying that, because a lot of people think it's Bleach or a lot of people think it's Naruto. The mass consensus is that One Piece is not the best anime to start. It gets better, but it starts off really slow. I didn't really see that at all. I like the fact that they were introducing these characters with incredibly different goals who come together in order to help each other get to those goals. And just based on what they want, it's going to take a really long time. Literally, that it's 900 episodes, that it's 900 chapters. That stuff is going to take a while. And that's probably one of the reasons I haven't really dived into it. But at the same time, I was very impressed with where it started, the characters they introduced, and I would love to get into it sometime down the line. But when it comes to Naruto, and this is why I feel like a lot of people are going to hate this take, but when it comes to Naruto, I think not only does it have the weakest start in terms of the anime. Now, I haven't really read much of the manga, and I'm going to get to that later on in this video, so keep listening. But when it comes to the anime, it's so much filler. It's so much just absolute nonsense with the characters being way too childish, and coming into that series and that story and watching the pace of it from the anime's perspective as a fully adult man and not just kind of prepubescent teenager, I have to say I wasn't as taken back from it as I was from something like Dragon Ball Z. And I freely admit that Dragon Ball Z has pretty much the exact same problem, maybe even worse so than Naruto, but at the same time, when I experienced Dragon Ball Z for the first time, I was 8 years old. I wasn't in my late 20s, right? That is a big issue. And so when I sit here today and talk to you guys about Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, or Dragon Ball in general, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I would always be the first to tell you that it's not the best story ever told. In fact, there's a lot of problems with it. You should probably read the manga before you watch the anime because it's going to go better. I'm sure the same thing can be said about Naruto. Like I said, I'll get there in a minute. But yeah, Dragon Ball isn't great. The only reason I love it so much and the only reason I cover it on this channel so much is because I grew up with it and it's one of the best things that I experienced throughout my lifetime. I experienced Dragon Ball as a completely original story in my childhood. When Dragon Ball Super came back, I was able to pick it up on this channel and talk about it in a much more critiquing way and have fun with the people that I met on this platform. It was really nice, and that's one of the reasons why I still gravitate towards it to this day. But when it comes to Naruto, I feel like people aren't willing to admit that. Every time I bring up this opinion with people who grew up with Naruto, who loved it as children the same way that I love Dragon Ball, I say that you have nostalgia bias. I say that they are looking at Naruto through their childhood memories, and that's the reason they love it and they defend it. And for some reason, the people that I've talked to, at least in that aspect of Naruto, come after me. They think that I'm lying, they think that I have bad taste, and they think that Naruto is so much better than Dragon Ball. And it might be, but that's what really strikes me here, is most people I talk to in the Dragon Ball community, they look at Dragon Ball in the same way that I do. Of course, a lot of those people are much older, people who are still in my age group, people who grew up with it, and they look at it at a much more intellectual level than they did when they were children. But Naruto fans, at least from my perspective, have always considered it a much better told story, and I just never really understood that. Now, that could be because I've only watched the anime, but it seems pretty telling to me that even the biggest Naruto fans will tell you that you have to watch 50 episodes into the anime in order for it to get any good. Well, I've done that. I've done well beyond that, and I've started over completely. And while it was better the second time around, I just don't understand why this is supposed to be good. It's so much filler. It feels like I'm wasting so much time being told all the stuff I've already been told before in the episode prior. I mean, literally a third of every single episode, it seems like, is just a retelling of the stuff that happened in the last episode. And it feels like they're desperately trying to hold on to my attention, even though what they're doing isn't all that interesting. And everyone thinks that by the time you get to the Chunin exams and all this other stuff that it's going to pick up, but it doesn't for me. And one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is maybe I just need to pick up the manga. And everyone who's listening to this, and if you've gotten this far, thank you, but if everyone who's listening to this tells me, you know what, you need to pick up the manga and it's a much better experience, then I might do that. Because I've been thinking about this a lot. Reading the manga is going to be so much easier than just simply watching an anime from now on, especially with the amount of time that I have and everything related to that. I can't just simply watch a 900 or 700, 600, how many episodes is Naruto at this point? But I can't watch all of those episodes that are basically like 20 or so minutes long and expect to feel as fulfilled and as good of a journey as people who grew up with it. I'm sure that's part of the reason I'm making this hot take, but the whole point here is I believe that this is true, And I think that the people who defend it, especially people who get very angry about defending it and the quality of the story, aren't looking at it from the perspective that it's nostalgia. You grew up with it. Obviously, you're willing to give it a lot more slack than people my age who come into it for the very first time and see that it's not as good as everyone has told you throughout your entire life. And a lot of that is on me, but a lot of that's on you guys as well. And I wanted to just throw this out there to get everyone's thoughts and opinions on this. I'm excited for Naruto. In fact, everything that I've seen about Naruto, I want to make this absolutely clear. Everything I've seen about Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, even though I haven't watched it yet, everything there looks awesome. I want to see how Naruto goes from like this orphan kid to Hokage. That's cool. I want to get there, but it's going to take too much time just watching the anime. That's why I think I'm going to go to the manga next in order to try to see how all this connects, and then maybe I can get some appreciation for it, and eventually I'll watch the anime. Or maybe with my future kids or my nephew or something, they're going to want to watch it as well, and I can watch it with them, and I can have that experience that y'all get through them. I'm sure that that's a possibility, but I want to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions. Do you think I'm right here? Do you think I'm really overanalyzing it? Or do you think that I'm absolutely wrong and Naruto is, at least in the anime side, a really well-told story that I need to watch and I'm just being way too critical? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.